This is not gonna be my typical review due to time constraint. Already working on another game and it is important to focus on that one at the moment. I did promise I would do Ghost of Tsushima review in some form, so here it is. Shorter review than I intended, but this is where I briefly explain what I like and what I don't like with score at the end. Let's start by what I consider positives about the game. Most noticeable and memorable thing in this game is definitely landscape. It is to me most beautiful landscape, environment, setting, however you wanna call it, I have ever seen in gaming. Just incredible. What makes it even more alive and appealing is the constant wind that affects foliage. Overall game has that artistic look that fits it so well. Colorful, vibrant, bloody, dying animations, font used, presentations, dual face-offs, quest start and end screen and many other little details. It all adds to incredible immersion this game has. I rarely get any roleplay gameplay incentive in any game, but Ghost of Tsushima made me roleplay a bit, and that is huge accomplishment, as it might be the only game ever that did it. Walking slowly to enemy encampments, challenging everyone on sight like a badass, sheathing sword after fight, waiting patiently for enemies to make their moves so I don't break my perfect form. The way open world is made also helps with immersion because it is heavily connected to Japanese culture and main story, sometimes dancing between realism and fantasy, but not in a way that would break immersion, but instead adding to the excitement through a bit of mystery. Side quests and activities also add dynamic to the game, as you will follow animals to hidden shrines, climb mountains to reach out of place shrines, pursue side quests connected to important story NPCs. Usually side activities start to bore me when I reach mid-game in any open world setting, but in Ghost I loved exploring. Side activities are also rewarding, which only motivates to explore more. Little detail that I appreciate when it comes to open world is transparency. By scrolling over any side quest you immediately know what the reward will be. Story of this game surprised me in a good way. I was expecting something more disconnected and generic, but instead we got a very romantic portrayal of Japanese folklore focusing on samurai. Main character questions, is it worth it to blindly follow prideful and traditional code of samurai when enemy is using every tactic possible to get the upper hand, torturing innocents if they don't convert to Mongol cause? Jin's desperation is obvious, as he understands traditional ways won't help here. There is also a fantastic plot twist where Jin's more darker methods almost come back to bite whole Japan in the arse. NPCs are also fairly interesting and add unique quests connected to them closely. What I absolutely love is the relationship between Yuna and Jin. No unnecessary romantic stuff or any kind of bollocks like that. Instead, it is a relationship based on respect and admiration between two people with very different mindsets and goals from completely different backgrounds. I always hated romantic relationships in games, as I thought for the most part they are pointless and unnecessary. This is how you do male-female relationship that is extremely meaningful and beautiful without unnecessary romance. Main story missions are fun and well done, as they mostly involve armies clashing, intense sneaking and rescue attempts. Loved most of them, as they also add a dynamic due to different playstyles required. Ghost of Tsushima gameplay is mixed between samurai, ninja and archery. You can use everything at your disposal, and that is awesome, as there is sufficient depth to keep you motivated to try things out. I loved every aspect of it, as it is simple but effective. Even though I'm a stealth fan, I couldn't stop myself from adopting pure samurai style because combat is so much fun. No flashy stuff, but very simple and efficient katana style moves that leads to combat looking more realistic but still cool as hell. Jin unlocks new stances, which I think is a mistake, as all should be available from the start. New ninja tools, various boosts, and can equip different armor sets that grant different bonuses. It isn't some kind of complex RPG type character building, but there are enough things to play around with. There are also enough aesthetic customization options to make our character cool looking. Music might be one of the best ever done in gaming. Masterpieces that blend into game in such a perfect way. Sound effects are also very good. Most surprising thing to me is amazing English voiceover that I preferred over Japanese due to bad lip sync. Graphically, game looks stunning. Enemies, NPCs, main character, gear detail, but most notably landscape. Loading times are also very fast as well, which is awesome. Now to go to negatives. Game has lots of clipping issues and wonky animations, which are much more noticeable outside of combat. In combat everything is fine for the most part, but finishing animations are lacking as they can be wonky as well, which is very noticeable when you die and enemy comes over to finish you off. I would also love to see more gore, particularly dismemberments. Better dying animations with additional option to chop body parts off of enemies during that dying animation would go a long way in making combat even more awesome. Camera is also a problem due to lack of lock-on option. It is not that bad thankfully to make combat frustrating, but it is definitely noticeable. AI is also very weak, which is more noticeable upon adopting stealth playstyle. When all said and done, Ghost of Tsushima is highly immersive, artistic, beautiful game that does almost everything right. I enjoyed it so much and never felt bored. I love the game and that is why I wish I could give it more than 8 out of 10, which means great game, but I can't. Some weak wonky stuff and bad AI affected the game. Maybe some of the stuff gets fixed after a while, so here is 9, which means amazing in potential category. Sucker Punch Studios, well done. You get huge appreciation and respect from me. Thanks for watching, you windy bastards.